Are you looking to move to Toms River, New Jersey, but you're not sure just yet if it's the right town for you? Well, good news for you. On today's video, we're covering a couple different things and taking a map tour of Toms River, New Jersey. We're going to go over some topics like the school system, commute to work, whether it's New York or Philadelphia, location, and a few others. If this is your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon, and I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway. On the Live in Central New Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you want to be the first ones to know what's going on in either Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get this video started. All right, guys, so here we are to the map portion of everything. So I already have Toms River laid out for you. We're going to zoom out real fast, kind of give you a little bit more idea of where it's at in Jersey. So I would say it's more like the eastern side. It's really not too far south. It's relatively pretty central, obviously being on Central Jersey Channel. But here's kind of like where Philadelphia would be, New York. It's about, pretty much equal distance from both. But as you can see, if you scroll in a little bit, I would say for Ocean County, you kind of have Jackson up here, dips down a little bit into Lakewood. I would say more northern part of Ocean County because it does go down pretty far, right? You have Lacey that comes all the way down here. Stafford's still in here. So yeah, I would say Toms River's more central in Toms River, if not a little bit more northern too. It's 53 square miles, so that ranks 7th out of 33 towns over in Ocean County. The population is roughly 96,000, which ranks about 6th in the entire state, actually. So the towns that are going to be bigger in Ocean County necessarily aren't as populated. They're kind of a little bit more desolate. As you see Lacey over here, there's a lot of land in the southern portion of Ocean County that's going to be preserved. You can't build upon it or anything. So that's why the Toms River also has such a high population. That's even counting some of the beach towns it has as well. It borders a couple different towns. So you got Brick, Lakewood, Jackson, as I kind of mentioned before. You got Manchester, and there's a few major roadways that run through it. So kind of looking at it real fast, you have Route 9 and Route 9 and the Garden State Parkway both run north to south. And then Route 37 and 70 kind of creeps in right up here in the northern part. They run east to west. So Route 9, 37, and 70, those are all going to be non-toll roads. The Garden State Parkway, however, is going to be a toll road. That's also going to be your main highway to get you north and south pretty quickly. There's not going to be lights on there like there will be on Route 9. So if you're commuting to New York City, just going north or even going south towards Atlantic City, those are going to be that's going to be the main road that you're going to be taking, especially going to be the fastest route. So the shore is about 15 minutes away, depending on where you're at. I mean, you could also live directly on the shore, but if you just have to go across Route 37 over here, again, depends on where you live exactly, but pretty much anywhere within Toms River, you can probably get 15 minutes to a beach or so. The closest one is going to be Seaside Heights. If you want a little bit more of a low-key vibe, you can go over to Lavalette. That's kind of a little bit more family-oriented, a little quieter, rather than like kind of like the hustle and bustle over in Seaside with the boardwalk. It's going to be a little bit more touristy also in Seaside Heights versus like a town like Lavalette. So it's a really nice area. Toms River is broken down to quite a few different parts, obviously with the population being so big. It's roughly a 93K a year median household income, and the median sales price is about 415,000. I would say though, if you're looking for more single families, that number is going to be higher. That's probably going to be around like that 500 range, give or take. It's a little bit lower on the median price just because there's a decent amount of adult communities over in Toms River that are going to be more affordable. So you'll see a lot of homes that we'll go through a little bit later in the video that are basically going to be in that 200, 250 range anyway. And I think that would take that down a little bit, just a tiny bit. So, but yeah, let's kind of get started to the rest of the video. The next thing I want to cover is going to be the commute. So living in New Jersey, you pretty much commute to different locations, right? Usually either Philadelphia or New York City for work. That's going to be your two main hubs. And then everyone likes to live in New Jersey just because you have a nicer area, a bigger house, bigger yard, all those kind of things. So breaking it down for you. Here we go. So we'll start with New York just to top it off. The train really pretty much is an option for either New York or Philadelphia. So the nearest train for Toms River is going to be up here in Point Pleasant and Bay Head. These are going to be your two options for a train, right? This is going to be Bay Head. I think Point Pleasant is a little farther up north here somewhere. There we go. So the option for you for Toms River, if you want to take the train, would be to drive over to Point Pleasant, Bay Head, and then take the train from there. On top of that, you would also have to get off on the Long Branch exit up here, switch trains, and then go, and then that will finally bring you into Penn Station going up north into New York. From Point Pleasant, for instance, it's about a 2-hour, 15-minute train ride. So between driving to Point Pleasant, so that gives you nice 20 minutes to a half an hour, depending on parking maybe. Each way, you're looking at a 2-hour, 45-minute commute more than likely, if not closer to 3 hours. It's especially during rush hour time. It's absolutely nuts. So I wouldn't consider that an option. Can you do it? Yeah, technically. Would you do it? I personally would. So that would turn your 8-hour workday into a 14-hour event, and you would have pretty much no life Monday through Friday. So if you want to get to New York, the easiest way, in my opinion, from Toms River, just going to be driving, right? You're going to take the parkway up. I have it mapped out for you already. Probably should be on this page a little smarter. But this is an estimate. So this is going to say an hour and 20. That's the current time right now. If I was to do it by making this at 3:30 on a Tuesday, if you're going to be driving in rush hour, I promise you it's definitely going to be longer than that. Listen, if there was no traffic from Toms River to New York, and I mean zero traffic, you can just drive right into the city, not an issue. You could probably bang it out in about an hour and a half if you're, doing about 75, 80, maybe a little bit, a little bit faster. That's how we kind of drive in New Jersey. But with traffic, just any type of delays, maybe bad weather, during rush hour time, you're probably more looking at like an hour 45 to 2 hours. I would realistically say 2 hours is probably your baseline for commuting into Toms River, and it's probably the last town I personally would think of for people to live in New Jersey and also travel up to New York. The same thing's going to happen for the bus. They do have a park and go. There's obviously going to be other spots throughout Toms River, but if you do the bus, they have it down to again, they say 2.5 hours. I thought one said a little shorter than that. So, okay, even they have it down to 2.5 hours. So, just kind of gives you an idea that this is the Philadelphia one. I apologize. There we go, New York. Yeah, they have it as an hour and a half, which I think is a little bit unrealistic. Maybe if they're using the bus only lane, you can get there a little bit faster, but I would still say hour 45, 2 hours is more than likely your ballpark commute time if you're looking at Toms River getting into New York City. If you want to head over to Philadelphia, though, it's a little bit faster. You have kind of a couple different options. This is the New York one. My apologies. Alrighty here. They have a couple different routes. Depending on which part of Toms River that you're in, might be better off for you. If you're in the more northern part, you might be better off taking the Garden State Parkway to Route 195 and taking that pretty much all the way down to the Turnpike 295 in that area into Philadelphia. That's going to run you about an hour and a half. That is a pretty realistic timeline too. I live in the northern brick part and it usually gives me about an hour 15 to get into there. So add that extra 15, 20 minutes that you have to commute from Toms River just up the Parkway. That seems to make sense to me. Going from Route 70, they have it roughly down as the same time, another hour and a half, a little bit over that, and that's a pretty realistic timeline as well. It so obviously moving from or going from Toms River to Philadelphia is going to be a little quicker than going to New York. So if you're going to have to choose between the two and you want to live in a nicer area, I would definitely be working in Philadelphia versus New York City just to save yourself at least an hour trip each day, pretty much throughout the week. The train, again, it won't be necessarily an option for you here either. You would have to drive down to Atlantic City and hop on the train over here, and that'll bring you over into Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. So that ride would be 40 minutes down to Atlantic City plus another hour and a half train ride, maybe 2 hours, probably closer to 2 hours, honestly. It would just be like getting into New York City at that point. So train's really not an option either way. Bus for Philadelphia, I pulled it up, but again, you saw the time when I messed up before there. You're looking at 2.5 hours at a minimum. It's really realistically not worth it. The bus it would take the same route you'd have to go with the train, right? So you have to go towards Atlantic City, and it's a hassle. So, driving yourself definitely the easiest solution for either one of these. You could technically take the bus, I guess, if you're going into New York City. It would just be a little extra time added on there. But if you take the express route, I guess it technically would be about the same if you drive yourself. But to reach your own on that one, you kind of have to play it by ear. The next thing we're going to cover is going to be the school system. So Toms River has a pretty big school system because it's a very large town with a high population, like I already mentioned. So it houses about 14,651 students, and it's rated a B according to niche.com. The student teacher ratio of 15:1, which is slightly higher than average from the towns that we've covered, especially over in like Monmouth County. Monmouth County typically ranges most of their towns like that 12:1 range. But Toms River being so large as it is and having so many students, it's almost impossible to stay at a much lower rate. Sorry about that. Hard to talk for so long. It's sometimes so. Getting into it though, Toms River has an excellent school district when it comes to athletes. They rank 13th out of 245 schools when it comes to just athletics in school districts, especially for the public schools. They rank very highly. They have a pretty good football, wrestling, and baseball heritage. Football and wrestling, definitely one of their football. I want to say is Toms River North just won a state championship, and then baseball. It's actually kind of cool. So if with baseball, this goes all the way down to Little League. Back in the 90s, they went to the Little League World Series three like out of a 5-year stretch 3 times. They won it in 1998, and when they're members, they called the Beast of the East team. Toms River legend, I guess you want to call him. Todd Frazier was on that team. He played for the Mets, Yankees, Reds, and over in the pros and everything. So, really cool guy. If you ever get to meet him, he's awesome. I think he actually opened up a baseball facility down here and a team in Toms River, and Yeah, the Little League system, if your kid's into baseball, highly recommend checking out Toms River if you're thinking about living in the area. These are all going to be the schools. There's 12 elementary schools in Toms River, three middle and three high school. When you get to the middle and high school, they're basically broken down to north, south, and east. So you'll have Toms River North, middle and high school. You'll have Toms River East, middle and high school, and then Toms River South, middle and high school. Obviously, depending on which parts you live in, that's where you're going to be districted. But this is just kind of give you an idea of where they're all located here. Zooming in. Like, is this the North High School up here? Is this the middle? Dover High Schools. Okay, that's the intermediate right there. But yeah, really big district, a lot of schools. And the only thing I would say when I was reading through the reviews on niche.com, and it kind of comes up when you look at the report card, is going to be resource and facilities. It seemed that a couple of the people that wrote reviews seemed that they felt that some of the schools were underfunded a little bit, especially when it came to different clubs, maybe special programs for kids, some that might be like nonverbal, that might need a little bit of extra help outside of school. So that was the one big gripe. So just do your research on that, kind of look into it a little bit more. But that's pretty much the only like really negative that I could find with it. Everything else can be pretty top notch, especially for such a big district. When it comes to the housing options, right? If we're going to go to the school, we got to live somewhere. I like to break it down into three different categories. You have condos, townhomes, and single family homes. Starting off with just the adult communities. Sorry, did I say condos and townhomes? All right, so condos and townhomes would be one, adult communities would be the other, and then single family homes. My apologies. There's a couple different communities. These are going to be scattered all throughout. The biggest one is definitely going to be Holiday City up here. It's more than like the northeastern section of Toms River, and this is where we're going to see a large portion of people going. It's really affordable, and you can find homes anywhere from like that 200 range all the way through to like 350, 400. The ones in that 200 range are definitely going to need rehab. And you'll be, believe it or not, a lot of flippers do come in here and investors to renovate these units and then get them up to speed. So a lot of them have been outdated over the years, and then you come in, they flip them. It's a little difficult to do if it's something you're interested in, just because they do have a little bit of a work ordinance on Holiday City. Typically, you can't go past 5 p.m. just because for noise complaints and everything like that. But tonight it's a nice little location. The other thing with adult communities is you can find as something as small as like a 75K mobile home, which typically like 1 to 2 beds over there. But the bulk of the sales when you're looking at the adult communities, and move this real fast, are going to be around like that 300-ish range. They do go up to about 500K. I'll check those out in just a second for you. That'll be a little bit different development. That's going to be Lake Ridge. They're a little bit nicer, single family homes, and much bigger too. Sorry, they're 2 stories versus 1 story ranches like you'll see here in Holiday City. Scroll through some of these photos for you. Just kind of gives you an idea of what one of these units would look like. They're realistically only about like 1,100 square feet. This one actually looked even a little bit smaller too. Just have it done as. Yeah, 1092. That's the typical, that's one of the standard sizes that they have over there. But yeah, this one closed for about 315, just kind of give you an idea. 2 bed, 2 baths, 1 level. Pretty affordable if you're looking for an adult community home. They do go up, like I mentioned, up to about 500, 550. And this will be Lake Ridge. This is also going to be located in the northern part of Toms River. Up here. There's 2 developments up here. Hold on. Here we go. I'll find one for you real fast. Of course not. Why would I? But these are going to be, like I said, single family homes, 2 levels. You'll have a 2-car garage on there as well. The highest one I think went for 550 last year. Of course, you got to scroll all the way to the top on this for you. MLS never seems to want to work when I make these videos. Here we go. About 550, yeah. And then you had this one went for 500, kind of gave you an idea. So the top-notch one was 2,300 square feet, built in 1995, 3 beds, 2.5 baths. It does have multiple car garage on there. So you have a little bit of everything when it comes to the different range of adult communities that you're going to be looking at when you talk about Toms River. But you can see this one's fully updated inside. It's got that typical, like, same color, vinyl plank flooring, tile backsplash, white cabinetry, all that kind of stuff. But very nice, great place to live and downsize in. This community, Lake Ridge, is actually a really nice community. They have a bunch of different events throughout the year. They have, a couple different pickleball ports, bocce ball, and a few others. So definitely a nice community for thinking about adult communities. Moving on to the condos and townhomes. And we'll scroll up here. You have one actually pretty much right next to Lake Ridge. You're gonna have North Point Hollow, which is actually a really nice one. But for the price points, I would say you're looking at these are the higher end ones. So when you get to the beach side, you're gonna be talking about quite a few different price points. Obviously, anytime you add in a waterfront, water view home, those are definitely going to be a much higher price point. I don't know what that one looks like a single family. I don't know why it's listed there, but yeah, these will probably pretty much be in like that upper 700K somewhere range around there. They do have a few that we just saw for in the $1 million range, but that's out of the ordinary for the most part. But the higher end ones, you're gonna be looking around that 700K mark. On the other side of things, 250 will probably be your not break even point, but your starting point when you're looking for condos and townhomes in Toms River. So it starts off right around, yeah, around that 250 mark. They might not necessarily be updated just as much. So if you want to go a little bit higher, maybe that 300 range, 275, 300 is where you'll really start to kind of see a little bit more move-in ready homes. Most of the time, two beds, two baths, whether it's one and a half or two full baths. But really nice units over in Toms River, and they're going to be scattered throughout as well. I'll show you the map real fast. So you have some in the north section, some in the southern part, east, and then also on the water as well. So really nice area, Toms River, and you can find a good selection of different townhomes and condos. Finally, we're going to check out the single family homes. And obviously, this is going to be the large majority in the bulk of sales in Toms River. So as you get a little bit more inland, these are going to be priced relative to other towns that are not necessarily on the water and for like Ocean County as well. So Ocean County is going to have cheaper taxes compared to Monmouth or like Middlesex counties. And then the home prices come down slightly just as well. So I'm just going to pick a random one for you real fast and get lucky here. 575 looks like a nice single family home. Give that a second to load. Yep. So four beds, two and a half baths, pretty typical, pretty standard. It was listed for six, one for 575, but 2,300 square feet, pretty nice size, and only 7,300 for their taxes, which is definitely not too bad at all. This also closed in last June, so obviously the price has probably gone up a little bit, probably closer to that six mark now. The way prices have been going over the last year, but just kind of give you an idea. So a four-bedroom home, colonial, good size, relatively updated on the inside too. Looks pretty nice. Stainless steel appliances. And that's pretty much your standard for Tom's River. Oh, it even has a finished basement in this. I'm shocked it didn't go for six. And a pool. Wow. So that just kind of gives you the show. This same home, if you put this in like Freehold, Manalapan, Marlboro, somewhere around there, I can guarantee it's more than likely going for like 700-ish. So just a little kind of a benefit and a perk to living in the Ocean County area and Tom's River. If you want to look for the little bit lower end single families, you can find some stuff. I would say around, let me just skip right to it real fast for you. 350. Do 325 just to see a difference. 325, 350 will pretty much be where you can find some of those smaller single family ranches. And I'm talking like two, three beds, like 1,100 square feet ish, something along those lines. But they're also relatively fixed up at that point too. So this one went for 320. Let's see what the photos look like inside. Yeah, see, you can pretty much needs to be completely gutted, updated. Not completely gutted, I should say, but there has to definitely be some updating involved in there. Once you get to what we got here, 330. Okay, this looks pretty nice on the inside. White cabinets. Cabinets can use some updating right there. Maybe some appliances as well. Okay, still needs a little bit of work done to it. And that's for 330. Three bed, two full baths. Really not too bad. That's a little larger, so 1,700 square feet. That's really big actually for something I was thinking of. If you go a little farther down here, this looks like it's probably something I was talking about. Two bed, one bath ranch, just under 1,100 square feet, and listed for 350. Ended up going for about 339. Nice on the inside, very cozy, nothing crazy. Backyard nice and fenced in, but just more on the smaller side. It could use some updating as well. I mean, this if you add in some money to, probably go for about 375 ish somewhere around there because that's a nice size lot too. So that's what you're going to find for single families. So when it comes to adult communities, you'll see anywhere between about 300, 250 to 300, all the way up to about 500. Condos, 250, 275, up to about 700,000 is your typical range if you're going to go closer to the water. And then for single families, getting in around that 325, 350 mark. and they can go as high as I want to say like 3 million probably, if I had to guess. Hold on, we'll check it out real fast. But you're more than likely, so I would say 325 to 350, all the way up to about 7 to 800,000 will be like the bulk of your sales, and then and like the median price for a single family home, or at least when you want to break into that 4 bedroom like upgrading portion, I would say you're definitely looking at about 500,000 ish, 550 somewhere in there. It's gonna take forever to get to the top. Jesus. If you have any questions, though, in the meantime, guys, feel free to drop them down in the comments. Really love to hear from you guys. If you live in Toms River, if you're looking to move to the area, things you like about it, things you don't. It's a really nice area. I live in Brick, so I'm like the next town over. If I can't find what I'm looking for in Brick, especially when it comes to shopping purposes, we're about to get up to that in a second. You could definitely find it in Toms River because they have a really nice mall over there too. All right, let's see what the top house is. Oh, Jesus, went for 7.2 million. So, all right, 3 million. Yeah, 3 million is where they typically would top out at, especially over in the Lavalette section. But I guess this one, yeah, 6,000 square feet, that'll do it for you, about 7.2 million. So, that's definitely a little bit out of the ordinary. But again, they can go as high as 3 million because you have some waterfront properties over there. Moving on to the shopping and dining, like I just mentioned, Toms River has the Ocean County Mall, which is a big hit for a lot of people. Let's scroll down for you. It's going to be located pretty central in Toms River for the most part. It's going to be off of Hooper Avenue. So yeah, I would say it's relatively pretty central. It's right here. So you got the southern portion, unless you live in the really far northwest area. So it's pretty good. Hooper Ave is also going to be a large portion of your shopping, as we'll get to in a second. But the Ocean County Mall has over 100, it might even be closer to 200, I think, specialty stores, and you'll find everything there from like your larger department stores, kind of like a Macy's or J.C. Penney's, to some smaller stuff like maybe like a Five Below, something along those lines. But it's a really nice. They do have restaurants. I don't know if it's going to pop up for me. Yeah, around the corner over here. So yeah, you got J.C. Penney's. There are some restaurants on the one side though. They're not going to come up. There you go. So you have like a Japanese place. You got Applebee's over there. Toys R Us is in here. Lids. Pretty much anything that your typical mall would have is going to be in here. So it's a nice little location off of Hooper Avenue, like I mentioned. Across the street, you're going to have Burlington, PetSmart. So this is like a really big plaza in general. So on both sides, with including the mall, and on the other side of Hooper Ave. A little farther north of that, you're going to have Target and Lowe's. If you go farther south, you have that like the southern, should say southern, the South Toms River Plaza over here. You have a shopping center. That's going to have Kohl's, ironically Five Below, like I just mentioned, and a little bit of Planet Fitness if you're hitting the gym. So pretty much you really can find everything in Toms River just in like that one central location. You got Home Depot out to the west over there. But if you can't, unless you live in that northern part of Toms River, so like right in this area somewhere, if you want to take the ride up Brick Boulevard over to Route 70, you have all the brick shopping plazas as well. So that's going to lead you from plenty of different food stores. Like you got Costco, ShopRite, I think all these over there, Lidl, and Trader Joe's, which is a big one for a lot of people nowadays. You also have another Home Depot and Lowe's there as well. You can head over to what's it called? They also have a different PetSmart and Petco as well. So literally anything within, if you're living in Toms River, you should have a shopping option within 15, 20 minutes. You in pretty much any different direction over there. This Brownstone Pancake Factory, by the way, over here, highly recommend checking them out. They are a little bit pricey. They give some really good portions, but the food is very creative, very delicious, and you'll probably end up trying something you usually wouldn't have for breakfast over there. Back here, just some dining options. One I would definitely want to point out, this is going to be Brooklyn Square Pizza. This is in the more northern part of Toms River, but they were rated on the Barstool Pizza app. They're in like, I think they got a 9.192. Their big slice, big pizza is going to be like the grandma style, kind of like upside down pie, so like the sauce on the top, cheese on the bottom. Really, really, really recommend checking them out. It's one of my favorite pizzas. They have a couple different locations. So there's one over in Manalapan as well, where I kind of used to live in Freehold. So would love getting that pie. They are very heavy, are very thick, but if you get your hands on one, they're gonna on a Friday, they're gonna be very busy. So make sure you definitely call ahead like 45 minutes in advance. But really recommend checking them out. They're so good. But yeah, so there's a couple different dining options for you. Like I mentioned, there's some outside the Ocean County Mall as well. Last thing I want to kind of touch upon is just going to be different entertainment that you have in the area. First off is obviously just going to be Seaside Heights and their boardwalk. So if you remember the show Jersey Shore, That was like they have like a boardwalk over there, so that's going to be like different carnival games. They have the amusement park with some rides over there, and obviously you just have the beach and the shore in general. If you want like a little bit more of a family friendly environment, I mentioned earlier, just go a little bit more north towards like Ortley, Lavalette. It's going to be a little bit less crowded, population wise, and you kind of a little bit more private as well. If you want to head over to the trampoline park, you have that as well over here. That's going to be located near the Home Depot. Off of that, is that technically Route 9 over there still? Yeah, it's technically Route 9. So nice little this fun day out with the kids. Nightlife wise in Toms River, nothing really too crazy goes on. So if you have some time or you want really a night out or a weekend away, recommend just heading down to Atlantic City. So you can go to many of the casinos over there. They have a boardwalk as well, some outlet shops. If you're looking for the casino, just come want to do some gambling. Most of the time, if you're going on a weekend, so it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the table minimums, especially later at night, are all going to be pretty much $25. You maybe you'll find some in the afternoon that are going to be 15, so you can kind of like live on those for a little bit. But I don't know if they still do it. This is back when I was in college. A lot of us used to on a Thursday and Bally's Hotel or something called the Wild West. Used to do $5 crap tables, which was really fun. So they just like, kind of for everybody in the casino. It's kind of hopefully probably showing my age a little bit on that one, but just a nice little night out. It's just a little bit different than going to necessarily, like another just type of bar or anything like that. Also, if you want to bring the kids and like a little bit vacation AC, one of the casinos, I think it's Resorts, they opened up a indoor water park. So something a little different over there. So, but that's pretty much the bulk of Toms River, guys. If you have any questions, we're pretty much finishing out the video though. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end of the video, guys. I really do appreciate it, and hopefully you gained a lot more insight and value on what it's kind of like to live in Toms River. If you're looking to move to the area, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is down below in the comments and the description. Whether you're 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year out, it doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. If you're looking to move to a different part of the Central Jersey area, feel free to check out the 2 videos and wait around a little bit, and hopefully they help you out too. Have a great day.